Vahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavid Vishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Katha Upanishad. We have seen the illustration given of a chariot, the rider of the chariot, and the components of the chariot. And the body and the mind and the senses are likened to the chariot and its various components. Well, we've asked, what is the goal of this? We have been asked to, the charioteer, who is the intellect, that is the intellect, has to travel. And if the charioteer has a well-disciplined horses, that's the senses, and a well-disciplined mind, that's the reins, that's the bridle, and the charioteer is intelligent enough, that charioteer will lead one where? This is being delineated in this present verse. So the Katha Upanishad, chapter 1, section 3, verse 9. The person, however, who has as his charioteer a discriminating intellect, and who has under control the reins of the mind, attains the end of the road, and that is the highest place of Vishnu. Here we have. So, there are conditions to reach the end of the road, end of your travel. Life is a journey, and we need to travel from where? From the lowest levels of existence to the highest levels of existence. And what is that highest level of existence? It is called the highest place, the highest goal, called Vishnu. Now, Vishnu is not a personal deity as it's mentioned here by the commentators, but it is the supreme, absolute existence, the all-pervading. Vishnu is called Vyapanat Vishnu, all-pervading existence. That is called. So the Sanskrit is Vijnana Saratiryastu Mana Pragrahavan Nara Sodvana Paramapnoti Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. Here it is. That is the highest stage. This person, as his or her body and senses and mind and intellect are disciplined, what happens? That person gradually transcends everything. We find there is, in all religions, the idea of kind of discipline put in. They use things like, oh, you've got to be ethical, you've got to be this, you've got to be that, and you got to put a kind of a routine or a discipline on yourself. Why? Why all the religions of the world are so interested in disciplining you? Yes, but the discipline is a means. For what? The discipline is a means for attaining the highest. In Vedanta, it is what? The highest stage where you can attain. Because it is found when a person is disciplined, when a person is moral, there is less restlessness in that person. The body and the mind and the senses are less apt to get dispersed by the objects of the senses. And and also the internal memories that kind of disrupt your equipoise. So once you get a grip on yourself, what happens is we kind of slowly can conquer that aspect, that level of existence, and gradually transcend. So the verse is the person who has as the charioteer a fine discerning intellect. And that is what the whole thing is. Because he is, for the time being, the master in the chariot, the master in the house. The master in this house is the intellect. And if the intellect is non-discerning, that intellect is going to go to grief. It's always the idea we judge. This is good or this is bad, this is right or this is wrong, this is moral, this is immoral. You don't need to teach people. We know it. But the second stage is, even after knowing, there are people who will do exactly opposite what their conscience tells them to do. And that is where the trouble lies. So if you have a discerning intellect, Sri Ramakrishna always used to say, what is that? You've got to discriminate between the real and the unreal. So we must understand this intellect is like a kind of a knife, can separate two aspects, that which are presented to us. As we mentioned, two choices come to us at every step of our lives. One, the immediate gratification. One is the long-term pleasure. Or one is temporary pleasure and the everlasting perfection.
What are the Sanskrit words for those two?
Shreyas and preyas, these two. So these two things always engage a person, as that verse had said. They engage you. At every step, you are engaged. You either take this fork in the road or that one. Now if you take the right road, it's going to lead you to the right place. That's perfection. So the whole thing is, the intellect has to be very fine, discerning, to understand things and to choose the right thing. And that person now has a discerning intellect and who has under control the reins of the mind. The mind is the reins. Yeah. Suppose the intellect doesn't have the reins on of the mind. So what happens is, the horses are going to go wherever. There has to be a degree of control on the chariot and the horses. So what does the intellect do then? It will hold the reins. The reins, the bridle is the mind. And the senses, they say, the senses are the horses. So a guy pulls in the reins. Stop it. The horses, the senses want to go in a kind of a direction that's going to lead one to grief. Pulls back and sets them on the right path. That's it. So if the person keeps on doing this, then they're saying that person attains the end of the road. So dhvana. So dhvana is, it reaches the end of a journey. And what is that? Tad Vishnu Paramam Pavam. That is the supreme state of Vishnu. That is the supreme goal of human life. Vishnu, Vyapanat Vishnu. That is Vishnu, that's all pervading. So this is here the analogy or the illustration of the chair, of the chariot. Stop. Because you've reached the goal, you needed a vehicle, and the vehicle is this This is your vehicle. And that has been always kind of recommended. Yeah, you got an instrument, you have a vehicle, but now it is malfunctioning on all sides. Tune it. Put in the new oil and put in the new tires and put in this and put in that and see how things run. And things will run smoothly. You have a malfunctioning instrument. Oh, you see, I want to do this. As they say, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Ha. So what's the problem? The flesh has to be made strong. It's not that else. Spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So you keep on disciplining the body, disciplining the senses. Once the senses are disciplined, then what happens? They won't go towards other things, the objects of the senses. They will go to the object of life. And what's the object of life? That absolute existence. What is that absolute existence? The highest goal of all. Of everyone? Yes, of everyone. That's the goal of human life. So the word uses vijnana saratir yastu, but the person with a discerning intellect, discerning the action of the intellect arises, from that arises what is called willpower or attention or determination. In Sanskrit it's called adhyavasaya. Decision. You decide and you move forward. If you are going to be indecisive, should I drink this or no? Should I do this or no? Should I eat this or no? You decide. If you want to eat this or no, don't be indecisive. The problem with us in our lives is indecision. We have not been using that intellect of ours to discern things. What is harmful for me? What is good for me? If it's good for me, take it up. Take it up, live up to it. And you will see, as you do that, you start flourishing. You start prospering. Not in the worldly sense, you will prosper spiritually. That's the whole there. And once you set in motion, you get the results, you are getting better and better at it, you will get stronger and stronger at it. It's always, it is the good, the noble, the truth that makes one stronger. Nothing else. Yesterday we were asking, what's that Sanskrit written there? And it said, truth alone triumphs. Satyameva jayate. And the rest of the Upanishad, this is nanritam, not untruth. Truth alone triumphs, not untruth. And the way to the divine, satyameva jayate nanritam satyena panta vitato deva. And this is the path towards the gods. So that occurs in the Mundaka Upanishad. Here we find you're getting better and stronger and stronger. You can kind of act as a bulwark. Your mind and your intellect will act as a bulwark to everything that's negative, everything that is weak, everything that tries to drag you down, everything that is a non-Atman. So you travel down this path, the path of the good, the path of the holy, and you reach the end of the road. That's the supreme state of Vishnu. Now, you might ask, will my body and the senses and the mind also reach that end of the road? You must understand, the analogy or the illustration is given in order to us to understand that the life is a journey, a spiritual Pursue it. It's a journey, it's a path. Take it up. The body is not going to be immortal. The mind is not going to be immortal forever. Immortal, of course. What becomes immortal? There is another entity, as we have mentioned, the rider in the chariot, the passenger. The passenger is kind of sitting down, he is at the mercy of this kind of stupid intellect who's taking the guy for a ride. People don't like to be taken for a ride. Yeah, obviously. But we are being taken for a ride. And when we realize this is not correct, the whole thing actually belongs to me, but I'm being taken for a ride. Some elements that have come in that are disrupting the whole thing. So, what do? It's the passenger that attains the highest goal. Because that's the goal where you can say you're supposed to reach. The bodies and the senses and everything are just the vehicles. Got it? So, in order to clarify this, the next two verses have begun, and these are one of those great verses, and it explains how things are graded in this universe. So the 10th verse is, the sense objects are higher than the senses, and the mind is higher than the sense objects. But the intellect is higher than the mind, and the great soul is higher than the intellect. So here now you get a graded level of your own existence. And not only your own existence, then it takes that tremendous leap that Vedanta always does, and which you will not find anywhere else. It will find only in Vedanta. It's like indisputable. So it takes you gradually, stage by stage, higher and higher and higher, showing you the entities which are higher, and then from the individual, it becomes the cosmic. So here he says, the Rishi. So the last line of this 10th verse is, and the great soul is higher than the intellect. So what is higher than the great soul? The unmanifested is higher than that great soul. The Purusha is higher than the unmanifest. There is nothing higher than the Purusha. That is the culmination. That is the highest goal. Here it is. So we'll take this up one by one. So, these two verses are generally taken together, the 10th and the 11th. Indriyebhya parahyarta artebhyascha param mana manasastu para buddhi buddhir atma mahan paraha mahata paramavyaktam avyaktat purusha para purushanna param kinchit sakashta saparagati. Sakashta saparagati. That is the culmination. That is the highest goal. What? The Purusha. What is the Purusha? That which fills everything. That's a supreme consciousness. Purnameva. So that is, okay, we find this is the state of Vishnu. That's the all-pervading consciousness. And now we are starting from the lowest rungs of this existence. So the lowest rung is, the sense objects are higher than the senses. Hey, just a moment. The sense objects are higher than these senses? Yeah, right now we are along with common sense and science also. it is in order to experience this environment, this living organism developed senses. Yes. In order to see light, you develop eyes. So why? Because it has to survive in this environment. This environment is uncertain, it is not known, and it has to be understood to the degree it can help me survive. So the senses are lower than the sense objects. You know why? Because the sense objects always draws the mind out. The senses do not drag the objects out in. So that which draws the senses out has to be stronger than the senses. And so these horses, the senses, are at the mercy of these objects. Taste, touch, smell, sound, and the senses are designed for that, and they go towards that. That's the reason why it's said the sense objects are higher than the senses. Though it's like the lock and key, both are linked, but one is more powerful. Now, these sense objects, do these objects, after they have kind of drawn the senses out, the sense objects do not come inside. What comes? The resultant experiences. So we are a mass of experiences. Now, these mass of experiences are obviously higher than the senses. That's the next argument. Because what happens is, you're walking down the street and you see something and you remember it, and your feet go towards that. Hey, what happened? You have seen this thing before, you have experienced it. Your experiences are kind of dictating things, where you should go, what you should do. And this morning we are reading about a subconscious mind. We are totally under the thalrum of that subconscious mind. And what is the subconscious mind? Experiences. Experiences of what? Sensory experiences. All your experiences are kind of crowding therein. Me first, me first, me first, me. Me too. You too. Not you, me. YouTube. So that's why the sense objects are higher than the senses. The impressions are extremely powerful, and the objects, they draw the senses out. So the senses are at the mercy of the sense objects. So how do you master them? Then the mind is higher than the sense objects. There it is. You've been asked, now you don't take any form of sugar, and you love sugar, but the doctor's warnings come and say, don't touch sugar, don't even look at sugar. And when the senses are going towards the sugar, the mind says, beware. You know what the doctor has said? The doctor's recommendations are final. And you pull back. No, that's good, but not good enough for me now. It will kind of hurt me, harm me, destroy me. So the mind takes over. The senses are drawn out. When you see sugar, it's drawn out, and the mind takes over and says, no, no sugar. And the senses come and quiet. Oh God. Oh, I love sugar. I ate sugar, and so many years I ate sugar and sugar. That's it's a kind of intoxication. It's a kick. It's a reward the brain gives you. Eat sugar, eat sugar. Yeah. So that idea of reward is now cut. No, I don't want your reward. This thing will kind of kill me. This kind of reward will kill me. Just take it easy. So the mind is higher than the sense objects as well as the senses, obviously. So the mind is higher. So now you've got to take care of the mind. But the mind is restless, as Arjuna asks. Oh, the mind is restless, oh Krishna. Chanchalam hi manak Krishna, pramati balavadra. It's, it's stubborn, it's turbulent, it's restless. I cannot control this mind. It's like controlling the wind. Can you control the wind? No.
An avatar.
There. So the wind blows. Control the wind? No, no way. So the mind is restless by its nature. So do you want to control the mind? Obviously, yes. But how do you control the mind? Through the next higher stage in your existence. What? The intellect. And the intellect is higher than the mind. And that is where we must understand. People say, I've been meditating for so long and for so much, nothing is happening. I say, you must meditate with the help of the intellect. When you are saying, I am meditating, you are meditating with what? On what? You are meditating with the intellect, the buddhi. On what? The object, which the Guru has given, or a symbol or anything. So, the subjective side of the mind is meditating on an object which is in the objective side of the mind. Got this? So, the intellect is the element there. Like I said, it manifests as attention, it manifests as determination or willpower. And if you're not attentive, the mind will go out there. It will go to Antarctica and come back here. And then you're trying to meditate again, it will go back to China and come back again. It will go somewhere else. Why? Because you are not attentive. The moment you are attentive, you are exercising your willpower, your intelligence, your buddhi, intellect. Got this? This is very important in meditation and spiritual life. It is the intellect by which help you meditate. So you have the intellect who's keeping a kind of a close watch on every movement of the mind. It's like a sentinel. And if this intellect has kind of got this discerning faculty, this is not right, cut this out. This is right, increase this. Slowly it will lead the mind to the right path. And the mind is like a child. It has been spoiled. And the child has to now it has to grow up. Yes, it has to grow up. It cannot be a child anymore. And most of us, our minds are like spoiled children. We have not let the mind grow. And how does the mind grow? There's a guy behind you who's the boss, okay? You step out of line and you get a whack. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, there's a elephant, the elephant has a mahout, the rider, the driver, that sits on its back, not back on the junction between the head and on the neck. And he has a goad, an iron kind of, a tipped kind of. He will whack it whenever the elephant is trying to put his trunk out and grab some bananas. Bang it, bring it up. If the elephant once again reaches out to somebody else's banana, tuck. Why? Because you will go bananas if you keep on eating bananas. So this guy, the mahout, if the guy is lazy, the guy is just letting the elephant do whatever it wants, that guy is going to come to grief. because that elephant, it's a strong one, you see. Elephants are extremely strong. It will come away from the path, it will go in the jungle, go for the bananas, go for this, go for that, and it might kill that driver. But if the elephant is trained, it is disciplined, a slight knock on the head or a slight prod is enough for the elephant to understand, no, this guy above, he doesn't like that or she doesn't like that. Better behave myself. When the guy is a little lazy or indolent or inactive or inattentive, I'll do my thing. So he keeps on doing. Again, the intellect comes, hey, I told you, don't step out of line. There, you get a bang. This is how we slowly kind of proceed. So the intellect is higher than the mind. Okay. Now comes the second part of the you can say this great leap. Then he's saying, and the great soul is higher than the intellect. Wow. We can understand a soul, that passenger, the rider in the chariot. But what is the great soul? It's the idea is Mahan Atma, Mahat Atma. Now, you see what happens is, this is where Vedanta has kind of, you can say, has outclassed all other philosophies. You have a soul, you have a soul, you have a, I have a soul, you have a soul, you have a soul. Everyone has a soul. Yes, all of us have a soul. But that will make many souls. That will create a big problem. There are philosophies who say there are many souls. Individual souls, many souls. Yes. But there is one great soul. What is that one great soul?
God.
That is, we don't say God in Vedanta like that. It's Hiranyagarbha. Now, we are individual souls. All individual souls are looked at as the collective. Got this? So from the individual, the Upanishads just pushes one to the universal, to the collective, to the cosmic. Wow! But what about me? What about you? And who are you and what is your... There are so many yous and so many I's and so many this. There has to be some sense in this universe, some kind of plan, some kind of direction. What about me? What about my joys and sorrows? Oh, be quiet. Your life, your meaning, your purpose, everything is connected to the universal. You remove the universal or you remove the cosmic, and your life has no meaning. You cannot live in a bubble. You cannot live isolated. Everything is connected to everything else. Everything. Even the smallest atom is connected to the whole thing. Last time I told you, you pull one atom towards you and you have to pull the whole universe along with it. That is a tremendous statement. Everything. So, above this individual soul, the real rationale or the real, you can say, basis of the individual soul is what? The universal soul. This is called the great soul. That's why it's called a great soul. Not because you are great. Because it is the collection of all the souls put together and spoken of as one soul. Obviously, there is only one universe. There are multi universes and all that and all, but then even all those multi universes, multiverses are called this one universe. So it's one. So higher than the intellect, you reach a stage what is called Hiranyagarbha. Wow. So from the individual, as you keep on meditating, you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. That is, later on we'll find you have to merge the senses in the mind, merge the mind in the intellect, merge the intellect in the great soul. You suddenly leap from the individual state to the collective. Your individuality itself was a fake, was an illusion, was a delusion. Wow. Yeah. Suddenly you get identified with everything. That is what Vedanta is. You want to keep on getting identified with your own individuality, you're getting identified with something that's false. This is the means. This is not the end. This is not the goal. And if you want, what about my individuality? Yes, your individuality is the collective. That is what you actually are. So, step by step, from the intellect, what's the next step? Oh, after that deep meditation, which the intellect has been a kind of a sentinel and has been controlling things, suddenly you get into what? You get into something that's called samadhi. Isn't it? So after meditation comes samadhi. That's a higher form of meditation. And you cross over from the individual to the universal. Oh, samadhi. People say, "Hey, samadhi is not in your brain. Samadhi does not happen in the body. I will go into samadhi." What are you talking about samadhi? You go, yeah, you're welcome to go into samadhi. But you kind of ford the river. You got this? So one bank of the river is the individual, and there's a stream, and you ford, you cross over and get to the other side. That's the universal. You ford, you cross over. That's why in India it's called a tirtha. Tirtha, the places where you can ford over. That is from one aspect of existence to the higher aspect of existence. And the higher aspect of existence always has to be, as the commentator says, Sukshmatara Mahattara Pratyagatma Bhuta. I'll explain this. Whatever is more internal is more powerful, is more pervasive, and more internal, more pervasive, more subtle. So the mind is even more subtle than the senses, obviously. The senses are more subtle than the objects, obviously. So you have the sense objects, more subtle than the sense objects are the senses. Okay, fine, this is understood. Where is this? It is more internal. And more subtle, more powerful, more internal is what? The mind. Yeah, it's inside. It's more clear, more inside. And what is more subtle, more pervasive, and more internal? The intellect. There you're getting back inside. So when you come to the great soul, the Mahan Atma, that is more subtle, more pervasive, and more internal. So obviously its extent, or its, you can say, the area is very vast. It is no longer an individual. Swami Vivekananda gives a kind of illustration of a kind of a cone shape. The lowest point of the end of the cone or the tapering object, as you can say, is the body. And higher you go, and as you go higher and higher, it kind of opens up higher and higher and higher and higher. So this existence, absolute existence, becomes relative by modifying itself, becoming more and more gross and grosser and grosser and grosser and grosser and grosser, till it comes down to the body. That is what it is. So we have a tapering existence. We are going higher and higher and higher. So when you come down to the great soul, Mahan Atma, wow, what is that? That is called the Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb. That is, who is that and what is that? That is the cosmic, subtle aspect of the cosmic person, cosmic entity. Okay? We don't worry. It kind of it's taking us out of a comfort zone, and that's what Vedanta does. Don't run into your hole, that small hole that you have built, like that foxhole. You get inside and it's dark and
Comfy. Comfy.
it's comfy, but you don't know. You haven't come out and seen the light. It's more comfortable outside. So come out of your foxhole or your rat hole or whatever. So the Upanishad is trying to draw us out into higher and higher aspects of our being. Not only your being, everyone's being. It's being, just existence. It's trying to pull you out, come over. And it's showing you that your lowest tapering point of existence is the body, the foxhole. We have gotten into the foxhole. This is the foxhole. We have gotten into it, and now we've got to emerge out of that foxhole. And when you come to the highest point in that foxhole, the mouth of the foxhole, you emerge out in the sunlight. And that sunlight is called Hiranyagarbha. Wow. This much is understood. The rest of the 11th verse, it's a little more subtler than that. Yeah. There are another 2 or 3 levels. So we'll get down to, do we have a time? I think we can stop here for now. We can take this up next Wednesday, because this I have to lay down a kind of an argument. Why from the individual Vedanta is taking us straight to the cosmic or to the universal. So that is actually the path. When it was mentioned, that is the supreme goal, the supreme state of Vishnu. It is not an individual state of existence. It has nothing to do with individual. We are all part of that vast mass of existence. And Vedanta has to show you the very first thing where you actually, really and truly have your being. And if it doesn't, then no point in studying Vedanta. All other philosophies and all other kind of popular culture and folk, you can say, wisdom, is telling you, oh, this is your body, take care of your body. It's a wellness and hellness and hellness. All this rubbish. Just get out of this kind of trap. The whole world is trying to trap you in that foxhole of your body. And Vedanta is trying to draw that fox out and teach it that you don't need to be here. You need to be there. And it will situate you in that existence, that massive universal existence. If that wasn't true, then your life has got no meaning. What wellness or what? You'll eat some more ice cream and eat some more chocolates. Is that life? That's a sensory life. And we have, as you see, we have already transformed ourselves and transcended those levels. So we come out of our own individuality and become truly what we are. So these two verses show us the stages of that journey, that travel, because it has to delineate what is the goal like. That's the highest goal. What's the goal like? Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. So we have tomorrow the Bhagavad Gita, and those who 7:30,
7:30 p.m.
and today's gospel reading will be given by Swami Atma Tattvananda Shiva,
at 7:30.
7:30.